Welcome to the Vinyl Chamber podcast.
A tidal wave of ABBA nostalgia is about to sweep the world, no doubt helped by Erasure's ABBA-esque EP, which tops the charts for 5 weeks between the 13th of June and 18th of July on the Mute label.
I wasn't jealous before we met. Now every woman I see is a potential threat. And I'm possessive, it isn't nice. You've heard me saying that smoking was my only vice. But now it isn't true. Now everything is new. And all I've learned is overturned. I beg of you. Don't go wasting your emotion. Lay all your love on me.
So that, of course, was Lay All Your Love on Me, but the EP comprised that song, treatments of that song, SOS, Take a Chance on Me, and Voulez-Vous, and Gimme, Gimme, Gimme. Look, Matt, I always liked, I really liked Erasure. That song, A Little Respect, to me, was a fantastic bit of songcraft. You may or may not know that the ABBA tribute band Bjorn Again, I was just reading, issued a release of a similar EP called Erasure-ish,
Yes.
featuring 2 Erasure tracks, A Little Respect and Stop. But so what do you think about these treatments? I particularly liked that one. What do you think of them?
I love them. I really do. I share your appreciation of Erasure. Look, let's go. I mean, first of all, ABBA. We've done 1976 and 1980, haven't we? When ABBA strode like a colossus in a way over the pop world, and then Erasure. First of all, let's go back.
Who are Erasure? For Francesca's benefit, who are Erasure?
Well, let's go back to the early 80s and Yazoo, which came out of those, again, as most Essex towns of Basildon and Billericay. And Vince Clarke,
Yes.
I think is a great keyboardist. Actually, he played with Depeche Mode originally. So the trail starts with Depeche Mode, and they were real pioneers of that kind of post-punk backlash into sort of where guitars and drums were being replaced by synthesizers and drum machines, which I didn't particularly like at the time. But I can see that. But so Clarke left Depeche Mode to form Yazoo with Alison Moyet, of course,
Alison
and
Moyet,
they had some great memorable singles. Only You, Don't Go.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Nobody's Diary was the one that comes to mind as well. And then in 1985, Clarke, I think he was an outstanding keyboardist, a real great exponent of the art. He teamed up with Andy Bell and to form Erasure. And Erasure there was something about them. They knew how to write really good, decent tunes. I mean, A Little Respect, as you mentioned, Sometimes was a great number.
Yeah.
Ship of
I
Fools.
think that was their breakout. I think Sometimes was their breakout.
Sometimes was. I think
86.
86, 87. I think it got to number 2 actually. I particularly like the Circus. They were a very, very good band, and they had a really interesting image as well, because Clarke was almost like impassive behind his keyboards, performing this kind of wonderful keyboard wizardry, and Andy Bell was kind of leaping about, very, very overtly camp and flamboyant, and very, very, a very, very pro-gay band. Now, early 90s was the start really of the tribute band phenomenon. There'd been bands like the Bootleg Beatles and the Strolling Bones, but Bjorn Again and the Rattles. Yeah, I mean, obviously they were like a more pastiche kind of thing, but yes, they were effectively a tribute band. But Bjorn Again came, so there was something of an ABBA revival. Now we've talked about in the past about whether, I certainly remember this. I think our memories might certainly differ, but I certainly remember that it was very, very uncool to be a male and to say you liked ABBA. It was a band your sisters like, or it was this, how do I say this politely? It was the slightly less sort of masculine lads, perhaps, at school who would like it. It was the theatrical type of lads who might like ABBA at your school. And there was a sort of a gay kind of
well, we've
thing
discussed it.
to
I think
it.
we've discussed this before. You may remember the story of a DJ throwing ABBA's greatest hits at me when I asked for ABBA at a party in the late 80s. I did not embellish that story at all. That absolutely happened.
No, exactly.
And
But
I think it might... Go on.
They were a band embraced by the kind of the gay culture, and I think that's I think that's an extension of this, and I think it was the timing was absolutely perfect. And I've got to say, I think Erasure did a fantastic job. I think "Lay Your Love on Me," by the way, is a great song. I love SOS. I love "Take a Chance on Me." I love "Voulez-Vous," and I think they did them all really, really well.
They're great treatments. Great treatments. Do you think though that this? Do you think that this EP was the start of the? It was from then that ABBA.
I do.
The renaissance of ABBA, and eventually made them become cool. Which I think it probably helped to a large extent by the use of Mamma Mia and Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, a couple of years later in that film. I think wasn't this the start of it? The start of hang on a minute, actually ABBA are all right.
I think there was a confluence of events, including this song. I think was very, very important. I think you can actually date stamp this to the time when that, along with bands like Bjorn Again, there were bands starting to, tribute bands were starting to come there, and yes, of course, that was propelled by Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and then this song, the tribute bands, and of course Mamma Mia, and then the whole. So I think you're definitely right. This point, and I think Erasure can play a part of that. And I do think, funny enough, from this, Erasure had a fantastic album in 2003 called Other People's Songs, where they did a superb cover versions of stuff like Buggles' Video Killed the Radio Star, brilliant version of When Will I See You Again by the 3 Degrees, and one of my favourite songs of all time, Walking in the Rain by the Ronettes. So they really... No, it's a great album, actually. If you get it on Spotify, really, really good album. Other People's Songs, really, really great stuff. A song called Ebb Tide as well, which I think might have been the Righteous Brothers from the mid-60s. But I thought this was... I think this. Peter Gabriel's Salisbury Hill as well. They did a great version of. I think this is great. I think it's a superb pastiche of the ABBA phenomenon, and there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that this.
I don't think it's a pastiche. I think this was just them paying homage in their own way.
Homage. Pastiche may be the wrong word, but I mean, probably that's the wrong word. But there's no doubt to me that this contributed to that tidal wave of ABBA nostalgia, and I think hats off to them, and I think it's a great treatment.
Yeah, great. Okay. All right then, Lana, take us forward to a bit of Jimmy Nail, who you couldn't avoid in the 90s.
Yeah.
As the Summer Olympics begin in Barcelona, the song everyone is humming is Jimmy Nail's Ain't No Doubt. Number 1 from the 18th of July to the 8th of August. Written and produced by Guy Pratt, Danny Schroger, Jimmy Nail and Charlie Dorr, this one is on the East West label.
She says, it's not you, it's me. I need a little time, a little space, place to find myself again, you know. Oh yeah, I know goodbye when I hear it. She smiles, but her heart's already out there. Walking down the street, she says,
I don't want nobody else, I love you.
she's lying,
There won't be somebody else, and that's true.
she's lying.
Say you'll always be my friend, sweet darling.
What does she pretend? Ain't no doubt it's plain to see. Woman like you's no good for me. You're says, it's like in the song, remember? If you love somebody, set them free. That's how it is with me. But you know I'll always come back. And then she kisses me, and somewhere I hear a door slam. So I say fine, and just hope that I'm a better liar than she is. She says,
I don't want nobody else. I love you.
she's lying,
There won't be somebody else, and that's true.
she's lying.
So you'll always be my friend, sweet darling.
What does she pretend? Ain't no doubt it's plain to see. Woman like you's no good for me. You're beating another door.
Yeah, great stuff. You like that one, Matt?
Yeah, first class. I mean, what I've got to
Isn't
say, what I've got to say, Steph, is the bass playing on that song is absolutely superb.
I know.
And I believe it's Guy Pratt, isn't it? And
It's Guy Pratt. Yeah, well, so it stands to reason. Yeah.
the highest compliment I can pay to the bass playing is that it brought to mind the peerless, superlative James Jameson from the Motown stable from the 60s. I think it's that good, the bass playing on that. I'll hand over to you on this one, Steph, because I know you want to talk about it. I think it's great. What I love about this, and let me just quickly hold up the record there, which has got Jimmy Nail there looking suitably mean and moody on the front cover. I love that. I love that vocal technique where you've got the. Of course, it's Casey Kassoon singing the lead, but almost sotto voce on the other side of the stage, you've got Jimmy Nail commenting on it. So I don't need nobody else. She's lying.
Yeah.
It's an interesting technique,
It
actually.
is.
You don't often see that in music. You often get a call and response, but you don't get this where the sort of the responder is almost in the stage wings, if you like, commenting. It's a really clever technique. But the thing that comes through to me is Guy Pratt's. By the way, do you remember? Were you a fan of Auf Wiedersehen Pet, which was really where the Jimmy Nail sort of made his name, and he was Oz, wasn't he? And do you remember the title song That's Living All Right by Joe Fagan, who was also also manager of Liverpool in the mid 80s rather. That was Joe Fagan, not Fagan.
So you see, now 3 episodes ago, I might have fallen for that.
You might have thought, I know, you're wise to me now, aren't you? You're wise to me now. But look, I'll go over to you for Guy Pratt. But what a great bit of bass playing in there! I mean, absolutely bubbling, funky, on the money, inventive. I really like this. I love the instrumentation. In fact, I love the rhythm guitar playing as well. I don't know who's playing that, by the way, but I think it's great. What do you think?
So the personnel in this album from which this song came, it's a bit of a who's who, but it's Guy Pratt on bass, and I'll come back to him in a moment, but the keyboard player, Danny Shogger, who was one of the co-writers of this song. Now the guitars, get this, Elliot Randall, I don't know who that is, but I certainly know who David Gilmour, George Harrison and Gary Moore are.
Really?
Okay.
Are they on it?
Yeah, and
unbelievable.
It's not only Katie Kassoon, Sam Brown's on this singing, and Steve Gregory is one of the brass players. Nigel Hitchcock. These are session guys.
Well, what do you know? What do you know? That's interesting, isn't it?
Yes, no, it really is. But I think that's probably due in no small measure to the connections that Guy Pratt would have had. I loved this then, and I love it now. I mean, Jimmy Nail was huge as a singer and actor at the time, as you've alluded to, starting off with Auf Wiedersehen Pet, and then he went on to have hits with Crocodile Shoes and Spender.
Spender as well, yeah.
I think Spender came first actually, and then Crocodile Shoes,
I think so.
and then Crocodile Shoes came with a country soundtrack, which I was less keen on. But
I didn't mind it. A bit of harmonica, I seem to remember that as well. Yeah.
But I mean, what happened to him? He was ubiquitous in the 90s, and you don't hear of him anymore. I mean, we could easily look it up, but no, he did a bit of Bird at one stage, didn't he? Not before. I mean, I'm being serious now. Not subsequently, but I think in his younger days, he spent a bit of time in Her Majesty's Pleasure. I believe. I've horribly. If I've libelled you there, I'm with a lawyer here, so
I'm pretty sure he did a bit of time.
This song though, I have always enjoyed greatly. And it has an unusual structure, as you've alluded to, and a good melody and a groove, and the bass work of co-writer Guy Pratt is really what lifts it. Guy Pratt, of course, is a session bassist and touring member, or was a touring member of Pink Floyd, a member of David Gilmour's touring band, and I think also played on some of David Gilmour's, if not all of David Gilmour's solo albums, certainly the recent ones. As well as drummer Pink Floyd drummer Nick Mason's Saucer Full of Secrets band, in which Spandau Ballet's Gary Kemp also features. And Kemp and Pratt also host the Raconteurs podcast. But the links with Pink Floyd don't end there, because as the late great Pink Floyd keyboardist Rick Wright was Guy Pratt's father-in-law. Guy Pratt's roster as a session player, other than outside of the Pink Floyd universe, is huge, and it includes Madonna, Michael Jackson, Roxy Music, and Tears for Fears, to name but a few. Now, Matt, I know you are a particular Lionel Bart fan, and for Francesca's benefit, it was Lionel Bart that wrote the musical Oliver. So you may be interested to know that Guy Pratt's father was Mike Pratt, who was an actor. He was one half of Randall and Hopkirk, deceased, and he was also a close collaborator of Lionel Bart and of Tommy Steele. Guy Pratt's pedigree goes back, but you can see
tentacles spread far and wide, don't they? Guy Pratt.
But he's a proper musician. There's no question.
I mean, it's funny. That's really interesting background stuff there, Steph. But it's funny as a bass player and a lover of great bass lines. I don't think I was aware of that bass line until I'd re-listened to it. I thought, right, this is magnificent bass playing. I mean, isn't that a sign of a good bass line? Because isn't the whole point about a bass line is to lift a song, not to get in its way? And to play to conceive and play an intricate bass line like this on a relatively simple song and not get in the way, I think it just shows the talent that guy's 100%. 100%. But what struck me is is the syncopation, the rhythms right on the money. It's the melodies, which is James Jameson. Anyone who's interested in studying the art of bass guitar, have a listen. Look, Google James Jameson and his work with Motown, and a lot of those great Stevie Wonder records of the 60s, the Four Tops. The bloke is a brilliant bass player. And the highest compliment I can pay to Guy Pratt's bass playing is it reminded me of Jameson. And as you rightly say, absolutely doesn't get in the way completely and utterly. It's right in the guts of the record, right in the engine room of the
pocket, as they say.
Yeah, but absolutely, it's like the ship's engine. It's right in there, bubbling away and sailing the ship going forward.
And it's actually a very muddy sound, but it just
very muddy works. Sound.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly, I thought using a finger technique. I don't think there's any plectrums in there. I think it's actually used. You couldn't do that. I think with the plectrum, it has to be finger technique. And brilliant. Reminds me also of Norman Watt-Roy of the Blockheads. Which again is
it does too, doesn't it? Yes.
Yeah, a high compliment to pay. So great bass playing and a great song. It's funny. I came to this song just thinking about Jimmy Nail, but it's spun off a whole load of kind of subplots and interesting parts, which take the song probably above what's first apparent.
Yeah. And I've just, whilst you were talking there, I've just been reading, and you're quite right that Jimmy Nail was involved in a fight after a Newcastle United FC match during the 1970s and served a short prison sentence for grievous bodily harm. So, and after being released, he worked in a glass factory, and while opening a crate of glass, he stood on a 6-inch spike that went through his foot and was thereafter called Nail.
Yeah, I think his original name is something like Bradford, isn't it? I think,
it's quite grand. It's James Michael Aloysius Bradford.
Yeah, James Michael Aloysius. Yeah, absolutely. Aloysius, of course, the teddy bear in Brideshead Revisited. There you go. Got football hooliganism, glass injuries, and Evelyn Waugh references. Only on the Vinyl Chamber podcast. Only on the Vinyl Chamber podcast.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm loath to leave this gem of a song, but we need to move on. So, Lana,
Steph,
over to you. Yeah.
before Lana introduces this, can I say this next song has, in my opinion, one of the worst lines in the history of pop music. A rhyming couplet that whoever came up with it should be shot.
All right. So perhaps this is a game for our listeners. They can listen to it and try and figure out what it is you're alluding to there. Okay, Lana, over to you.
Holidaymakers all over the Western world find themselves dancing to the Eurodance hit Rhythm is a Dancer, performed by Snap. It's on the Arista label and written by Benito Benitez, John Garrett, Thea Austin, and Darren Butler. It's at the Summit for 6 weeks between the 8th of August and the 19th of September.
Rhythm is a dancer, it's a source companion. People feel it everywhere. Lift your hands and voices, free your mind and join us. You can feel it in the air. Oh, it's a passion. Oh, you can feel it, yeah. Oh, it's a passion. Oh. Rhythm is a dancer, it's a source companion. People feel it everywhere. Lift your hands and voices, free your mind and join us. You can feel it in the air. Oh, it's a passion. Oh, you can feel it, yeah. It's a passion. Rhythm, you can feel it, people feel it. Rhythm is a dancer. Rhythm, you can feel it, people feel it. Rhythm is a dancer.
Let the rhythm ride you, guide you, sneak inside you, set your mind to move to its pulsation, bass vibrations and sensation. Pause, it's not in place. Mind and body must be free to please take it all in. Nothing to lose, everything to win. Let it control you, hold you, mold you, not the older. New, touch it, taste it, free your soul and let it base you. Got to be what you wanna. If the group don't get you, the rival's gonna. I'm serious as cancer when I say rhythm is a dancer.
Rhythm is a dancer. It's a source companion. People feel it everywhere.
Yeah, Matt. So I was looking at these lyrics while that was playing, and they are actually quite they're quite creative and descriptive. Musically, I think it's a sort of cookie cutter rave song, very fit for purpose. But when the rapper comes in there with that poetry, that's something which was unexpected. What do you think about this one?
Well, I mean, it goes back to what you were saying at the outset, really, about the kind of the music, and I think we can file this under Euro dance, can't we? It's a fast driving tempo, sort of rap vocals, bright synth lines, and those kind of pulsating bass underneath. It's interesting, isn't it? I think that Thea Austin is the main singer who co-wrote this. I think she sings it really well. But the offending line for me comes in. It's nothing against Turbo B, the rapper and beatboxer, who comes in at about 2.5 minutes time, but he's given a line which is, if the groove don't get you, the rifle's gonna. I'm as serious as cancer when I say rhythm is a dancer, which is not just a dreadful non-rhyme, but it's just a kind of really, I find it quite inappropriate, really. It got me off thinking of other dreadful lyrics, actually, and I always found Steve Miliband with Abracadabra, I want to reach out and grab you, particularly contrived. But then I also thought about Sheena Easton, Modern Girl, with the line, she eats a tangerine, flicks through a magazine. But there you go. But I think this is probably the worst line.
Well, it goes on. It says, I plunge right on through the office door and into the bottomless indigo below, and suddenly I can't remember how to stop. Turn around. Do I point myself? Do I point behind? Do I point behind myself? Do I have to turn around before I can point? I flip into a brain fugue. That's that's later on in Rhythm is a Dancer. We didn't get that far.
Let's not forget Snap actually would have a number one hit with The Power in 1990, and they were classic Euro pop, Euro dance formed by two German record producers, Michael Munzing and Luca Anzilotti, and they came out of Frankfurt. But I think they're the epitome of that genre that you were describing at the outset. That kind of driving, hypnotic sound which filled clubs, accompanied the kind of rave scene. Very, very much of its time. I actually didn't mind this. Musically, I didn't mind this. Actually, I thought it was I quite like the hypnosis of it, but I can't get past that one line, unfortunately. But it was number one for 6 weeks on the Arista label, and that summer of 1992, it was everywhere. I think it's just 3 chords in it: A minor, F, and G, which is kind of like on a loop almost. And so. What do you think of it? I don't mind. I don't mind musically. It's a little bit grating after a while, but I don't mind it.
I think it's a song that lends itself to remixes and 7-inch mixes and radio mixes and beat mixes, and they probably did a lot with it to prolong its life in the charts.
Yeah.
But I imagine this shipped quite a few units to feed the rave culture, which was very much a feature of 1992. Arguably, 1992 was kind of coming out of that, because that kind of rave culture, I think, started in the late 80s, 88, 89.
88 on, so it was the big year for rave culture, yeah.
So arguably, these were the dying embers of that. But this song and the one which we're about to visit was certainly celebrated it. All right, Ben, is there anything else you want to say about Rhythm as a Dancer? I'm done.
No, but I will. Before we go to the next one, I don't want to steal your thunder, but I'm just going to say naughty, very naughty.
All right, so look, before Lana introduces this next song, we should remind listeners at the outset that this podcast and the collection which inspires it are a monument to sobriety. And the Vinyl Chamber does not endorse the use of dangerous illegal substances, which this song is a thinly disguised celebration of. But I fucking love it. And Lana, I'm sorry, Mary, I would reserve that adjective for when it's really necessary, and that was one of those times. All right, Lana, tell us all about it.
A rave classic here with the Shamen's Ebenezer Good, written by Colin Angus and Richard West and produced by the band itself. This intoxicating number on the One Little Indian label is at number one for 4 weeks, from the 19th of September to the 17th of October.
A great philosopher once wrote, naughty, naughty, very naughty. And he goes by the name of Ebenezer Good. His friends call him Easer and he is the main geezer, and he vibe like the place like no other man could. He's refined, he's sublime, he makes you feel fine, and very much maligned and misunderstood. But if you know Easer, he's a real crowd pleaser. He's ever so good, he's Ebenezer Good. You see that he's mischievous, mysterious and devious when he circulates amongst the people in the place. Once you know he's fun and something of a genius, he gives a grin that goes around face to face to face, backwards and then forwards and then backwards. Easer is a geezer, he loves to muscle in. That's about the time the crowd will shout the name of Easer as he's conjured in the corner laughing by the bass bin. Easer Good, Easer Good. He's Ebenezer Good, Easer Good, Easer Good. He's Ebenezer Good, Easer Good, Easer Good. He's Ebenezer Good, Easer Good, Easer Good. He's Ebenezer Good. He's Ebenezer Good. Has anyone here got any beerers? Lovely. leading light of the scene, know what I mean? He created the vibe, he takes you for a ride, and this is by design. The party ignites like it's coming alive. He takes you to the top, shakes you all around and back down. You know as he gets mellow, then as smooth as a groove that is making you move. He glides into your mind with a sunny hello. A gentleman of leisure, he's there for your pleasure, but go easy on old Easter, he's a love you can lose. Extraordinary fella like Mr. Punchinella. He's the kind of geezer who must never be abused. When you're in town and Ebenezer is around, you can sense the presence in the sound of the crowd. He gets them all out. The party starts rocking, the people get excited. It's time to shout loud.
Easy good, easy good. He's a bit easy good, easy good, easy good. He's a bit easy good, easy good, easy good. He's a bit easy good, easy good, easy good. He's a bit easy good. He's a bit easy good. He's a bit easy good, easy good, easy good.
Oh, I'd happily play all 3 minutes and 52 seconds of that. Matt, what a joy that is. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I absolutely love this song. Really good. It's just a perfect marriage of sort of that sort of Cockney delivery, those kind of hypnotic dance beats. And
They were a Scottish band, weren't they?
Came out of Aberdeen, but we'll explain the London link in a minute. But of course, it got me thinking about bizarrely, the Shamen have always disavowed this as a drug song, which is like, which is crazy, isn't it? But
it's bollocks, yeah.
Yeah, but it got me thinking about kind of the sort of the songs inspired by drugs, of which have been many. So it's a well plowed field. Going back to in fact, going back to the 20s and 30s, blues singers were talking about the use of cocaine and mind altering substances. But then in the kind of the 60s, you get the Beatles, and just to think of a few, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. There was White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane. There was
what was the one we talked about in 1965? These Beatles song.
Well, Ticket to Ride was not overtly a drug song, but it was.
No, it was Day Tripper.
Day Tripper, yeah, absolutely. Mother's Little Helper by the Rolling Stones. 8 Miles High by the Byrds. The Pusher by Steppenwolf. I could go on. J.J. Cale, Cocaine, of course, But has there ever been a more overtly drug song than Ebenezer Good? I mean, I don't think so. I mean, extolling the virtues of ecstasy, and while there be no drug advocacy from me, what a fantastic number it is too. And as you rightly say, Steph, it came out of Aberdeen originally, initially called Alone Again Or, after the fantastic Love track, which I think we're going to revisit soon. But then, of course, the London connection is. The London connection is Richard West, otherwise known as MC, who's doing the kind of the rapping sort of beatbox vocals, and that naughty, very, very naughty, and those great Mockney vocals, even though he's a bona fide Londoner, and that delivery is an absolutely fundamental part of this song. And West was a big part of the kind of East London right. Sort of early acid house sort of scene in London. And I love songs, I've got to say, which are date stamped but timeless, if that's not a contradiction in terms. And when I listen to Ebenezer Good, how can they deny it's a good, not a drug song? He's Ebenezer Good. It's the most obviously thing, but it really is reflecting the cultural zeitgeist of 1992. And I love the song then, and I love the song now. And I think this is brilliant. I think this is well produced, well delivered. I think it's quite intricate musicianship on there. And I adore it, as you do.
And the poetry and the lyricism is actually very clever. Yeah.
Very, very good, very good. Much maligned, is the one thing. But very, 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 very clever song, and not to be dismissed easily or seen as disposable, because it's a very, very clever number, and rightly deserved its time at number one for 4 weeks. Writers of Colin Angus and Richard West.
We see the cover.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the cover is there again. It's Shamen. I notice they call themselves Shamen actually, as opposed to the Shamen, which is just a bit like Pixies and the any fan of the Pixies, as I am, will always say Pixies, not the Pixies. But there you go. That's just an aside. But
Carpenters, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit like that. Yeah. So I think this is great. I love everything about it. I mean, I was never part. I was never. Look, I don't want to pretend I was part of this kind of wave culture. It kind of. I was an observer rather than a participant, and I still am. I was never into that sort of. I was never really into that sort of scene, if you like. Not that it wasn't me, but I just. Well, no, actually, it was. It was because it wasn't me. I wasn't part of it. I know friends who still are good friends. A couple of friends from Cheltenham. Still into this kind of stuff, who are just turning 60 like us, who are still into the rave scene. So it's a very enduring one, and I love this, and I know you do too.
I think we should, just for Francesca's benefit, just say that Vera's is rhyming slang for skins, Vera Lynn's skins, rolling papers for cigarettes or joints probably. And salmon is, of course, salmon and trout, rhyming slang for snout or tobacco.
Bit obtuse, that second one, isn't it? But who loves it? We love a bit of rhyming slang, don't we?
Yes, we do. All right. Well, shall we move on to the next one, which I think we're both a fan of, Lana?
Tamsin Archer from Bradford tops the charts for 2 weeks with this number she penned with John Beck and John Hughes. Sleeping Satellite, produced by Julian Mendelssohn, is on the EMI label and hits the top on the 17th of October.
I blame you for the moonlit sky and the dream that died with the eagle's flight. I blame you for the moonlit nights when I wonder why are the seas still dry. Don't blame me, sleeping satellite. Did we fly to the moon too soon? Did we squander the chance in the rush of the race? The reason we chase is lost in romance, and still we try to justify the waste for a taste of man's greatest adventure. Oh, I blame you for the moonlit sky and the dream that died with the eagle's flight. I blame you for the moonlit nights when I wonder why are the seas still dry. Don't blame me, sleeping satellite. Have we lost what it takes to advance? Have we peaked too soon? If the world is so green, then why does it scream under a blue moon? We wonder why. If the earth sacrificed for a price of its greatest treasure, I blame you for the moonlit sky and the dream that died with the eagle's flight. I blame you for the moonlit nights when I wonder why are the seas still dry. Don't blame me, sleeping satellite. And when we shoot for the stars, what a giant step. Have we got what it takes to carry the weight of this concept? All pass it by like a shot in the darkness, a mark with a sense of adventure. Blame you for the moonlit sky and the dream that died with the eagle's flight. I blame you for the moonlit.
Yes, well, I think that's another tent pole of this particular year, Matt, in the sense that it's a standout, I think. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I do like it. I like it. There's the cover, Steph.
Yeah.
Tasmin Archer. Yeah, she'd worked hard, Steph, to get where she had, and I agree with you. I think this is a decent one. And although it seemingly came out of nowhere, this song had been 4 years in the making, and she was from a Jamaican family from Bradford, Tamsin Archer, and she found some work at the Flexible Response Studio in the city of Bradford. That's where she met the songwriters John Beck and John Hughes. And they began writing songs together, including Sleeping Satellite. And I do think it's an extremely well-crafted number with some interesting chords, actually. I know some of our listeners say we occasionally get a bit nerdy in our musical analysis, and sometimes I get carried away by a stunning chord change. But I do like the musical structure of this. It's in the slightly maudlin key of E minor. And again, I don't want to get too nerdy, but it uses plenty of suspenders and major sevenths, and it shows good songcraft and good musical knowledge. And I can appreciate for what the song is. There's a bit of social comment going on with Sleeping Satellite, I think, which wasn't probably apparent to me at the time. It seemed like a Common Garden love song to me when I was growing up, but apparently, and I'm re-listening to lyrics, it's about the extravagant expenditure on space travel at the expense of our own planet, like keeping our own house in order before we start going into space. And Tamsin was never afraid to tackle really difficult issues. Actually, the follow-up was In Your Care, which was excellent, and she was big at the time, Steph, but then she sort of got the usual story, getting a bit disillusioned with the music business when she realised that the phrase music business is less about music than more about business, and a mistake that's made by many people. She never completely disappeared, and I was pleased to see that she's had an album called A Cauldron of Random Notes in 2025. But I quite like this, Steph. I don't mind it. I think it's good. Yeah. I think it's good. And I love the rhythm guitar playing in the background. I think is played by Hughes, actually, John Hughes, and then a great organ solo at the end, which I must admit I don't know who played it. I mean, I use that thing that we talked about, and it says it could be played by John Beck and Paul Wickens. There's a great keyboard solo at the end there, Steph, which was almost lapsing into Keith Emerson territory. I thought it was brilliant.
Well, I let it run until that because I do like that. It's a kind of Farfisa organ kind of sound, but it really works. And you're right, the keyboard players on the album were John Beck and Paul Wickens. I don't know which of them would have been responsible for that particular solo. And just a bit of trivia for you, Matt, which I'm sure you'd enjoy, because this is the kind of thing that you do get excited about. The drummer was Charlie Morgan, who's a well-known session drummer and co-writer of the theme tune to The Bill.
Well, you know me too well, Steph. That's the sort of thing I love. I love that. It's connecting. Who knew there was a connection between Sleeping Satellite and The Bill? Mind you, The Bill, isn't it famous for having like every single person in the world at some stage is either acted in The Bill or been behind the scenes. So, but no, it's a good, nice one, Steph. I do like that little link. That's good. You like this as well, don't you? I think because it's pure songcraft, devoid of too much electronic trickery, which I know we've enthused about, but and sometimes you just don't need it, and this is one of those occasions.
It's just a song which you can imagine. This song just wrote itself. It's just so organic and natural, and she's a great vocalist. I don't know much about her, she is. But no, I thought this was wonderful, and as I said, for me, it was one of the high points of this year, which is quite a dynamic year in terms of quality, I think. I'm a fan of this, and probably more so retrospectively than I was at the time.
Same here.
You know, it's that's the beauty of what we're doing. We visit things and think, hang on, that's it's almost like we're hearing them for the first time. But no, Sleeping Satellite, Tasmin Archer, very good.
Yeah, and it's worth saying, Steph, she actually was. I think she was highly rated at the time, best newcomer, and she was expected to really go on and do great things. Not to say she didn't she had some decent follow-ups, but she perhaps didn't quite push on as was predicted. But I think that was personal disillusionment with the way the business was running, not decrying from her ability. I think she's a very, very, very adept singer, surrounded by some good songwriters, and a good songwriter herself. Let's not forget she co-wrote this.
Well, the lyrics of the song, I'm just reading now from Wikipedia. It said the lyrics of the song refer to the 1968 to 1972 Apollo missions.
Well, there you go. I didn't do that directly.
Yeah, well, that's what when she refers to man's greatest adventure and the sleeping satellite. The sleeping satellite is an allusion to the moon. And in a retrospective interview in 2021, she said that the song was not a criticism of man's arrogance in leaving Earth, but more about the lack of further space exploration that might have led to a better understanding of ecological issues. So there you go.
That's interesting. Well, that's possibly a clarification of what I thought. I thought it was. I'd interpreted it as more of a criticism of space travel. In that, let's get our own house in order on the planet before we start looking elsewhere. But it's great that a song brings different opinion. But interesting to hear Tamsin's own personal perspective of that. So very interesting.
The Vinyl Chamber.